Right guys, before we get into this week's episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about Patreon. Patreon is essentially a private members club where you can get more of your fix of the Legit podcast. For the price of £1 a week, it's just £4 a month. The price of a pint, you get 4 bonus episodes in video and audio. Sometimes it's just me and Tom, other times we have special guests in, talking about the week's news, motivation, fitness tips, all kinds. Essentially, just more of the Legit podcast. That's only available if you are part of this private members club, paying just £1 a week.
And within that, you get access through your favourite podcast app to listen to the audio versions of our bonus episodes. So you can listen to them as if you would any other normal podcast. And so you can listen to them driving to work, when you're working out. And of course, as Andy said, we've got 4 bonus episodes per month. We've got competitions on there. We go back and forth and talk about different topics within that Patreon group. In essence, it's a private members club for the Legit podcast. And by you supporting us through Patreon, helps us bring bigger and better guests. And obviously, we've got that content over there, the banker content that you can listen or watch as well.
It's just £1 a week, £4 a month, the price of a fancy coffee or a beer. It helps us out massively. Link is in the bio. Please go and support us.
Welcome to the Legit podcast. This episode is kindly sponsored by Feel Supreme. They've kindly been sponsors for the last number of episodes, and they've got some incredible supplements and health products. I'm currently taking the CBD 500 milligram. It's amazing. I can't say and stress how much it's helped me with sleep, which is a massive big problem for me. But they've got a number of different supplements as well that they want to push. Vitamin C, D3, vitamin D is obviously brilliant to help with immunity at the moment, which is certainly a topical area, if you like. So if you go to the link which we've included below, which is feelsupreme.co.uk/legit, you can purchase all of their products through that link. And please make sure you go and click through that link, because it basically shows that we have sent you, the Legit podcast has sent you. So again, massive thanks to Feel Supreme. Huge amount of different products that they've got on offer as well. And like I said, can't stress the CBD enough, and the vitamin D3 as well. So hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you soon. But it's the Legit podcast. We're back for the first time in our new place, which is we've been spending the past part of 3-4 weeks, something like that, sorting it all out. Yeah. So it's massive.
Dad wallpapering, waiting on orders, deliveries, putting things together. We're still not there yet, but it's exciting.
Yeah, massively exciting.
And the other reason I'm excited is not only the new office, first podcast in the new office, but the 25th of November is actually 10 years since I became an amputee. And at the time where I always reflect over the last 10 years of what my life's been like, and one of the big things in my life was becoming the fastest single leg amputee in the world. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for our guest today, my running coach, Tony Clarke.
Nice to be here, lads.
Nice one for being here, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, it's so apologies for anyone who's listening. It's probably going to be a bit of a selfish podcast, as it's a little bit like kind of this is your life for me to kind of look back over my 10k record. But hopefully people will get inspiration from the story. People maybe things they don't know about it. They'll know a little bit more about running and what you've kind of done for my life, and hopefully it will inspire people. But before we start, I think it's probably good to give a bit of context to the position I was in. I was me and Thomas spoke about it a bit on the podcast, but I was in such a kind of, it probably was depression. I never ever went to see a doctor, but looking back now, it clearly was. I was gambling too much, I was drinking too much. The biggest problem I had in my life was I had no goals, I had no value. I wasn't doing anything with any purpose in my life. I was going nowhere fast. My life was very quickly spiralling out of control. Thankfully, around about that time, I got a dog. That dog got me walking, it got me running, got me a little bit fitter, and thankfully that came at the same time as the Invictus Games. I took part in Prince Harry's Invictus Games, won a couple of gold medals, and that kind of set me a little bit on the trajectory of wanting to get involved in sport. A lot of the lads from the Invictus Games then went on to the Paralympics, and I thought, like, finally, this is kind of my chance to get my life back on track, etc. Sadly for me, the longest distance for a single leg amputee in the Paralympics was 400 metres, just one lap of the running track. And I already knew I was a bit more suited to longer distance stuff. So not to be deterred, I set my target then on a 10k record. Very naively and very stupidly, thought I could break this record all on my own. Now, the record was 37 minutes, 53 seconds. It was held by a Canadian who'd lost his leg in a car accident. And I was just running down Crosby Beach with the dog. And I was getting about 42 minutes was my quickest. I was getting frustrated thinking, why the fuck am I not getting close to this world record? And I don't use Facebook now, but at the time I just went on my personal Facebook and I just, again, very naively, just didn't know running enough and didn't respect the time and just said, can anyone pace for me to break this world record? And someone who I'd done a corporate talk for commented and said, Andy, I don't run, but I know a girl who does. Her name's Rachel Burns. So I just messaged this Rachel Burns, said, hi Rachel, I've been told you're a decent runner. I'm looking to break this 10k world record. Can you help me? She said, listen, yeah, I'm an alright runner, but I'm not a running coach. The person you need to speak to is this guy, Tony Clarke. Said he's mad, he's crazy. No, what he doesn't know about running is not worth knowing. He knows everything about running. Here's his number. Give him a call. So give him a bell. Within, I think, 5 minutes, he said, I think he was like, what are you doing now? In fact, it was in 30 seconds. He said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm just sitting here now, like nothing. About 10 o'clock in the morning. He said, right, come and meet me on at Everton Valley. We'll have a chat there. Drove to Everton Valley.
Romantic, isn't it?
Sitting on a bench, lovely. I think it was about early, maybe February, March time or something. Crisp morning, looking over the city. Sitting there on a bench where a fella I'd only known of 5 minutes, 20 minutes maybe beforehand. And there I am, sitting on a bench, looking over the city, pouring my heart out to you, telling me about me kind of woes, how I was once this Marine, but I've kind of fell on tough times, I've lost me, value in life, I've lost my purpose, and this is what I want to do. Poured my heart out to you, and then that's where you come into my life.
Brilliant. Nice day as well, wasn't it?
It was a lovely day, yeah.
Lovely day, yeah.
What was you? So that's the kind of context to it all. What was your? What was going on then with you? Obviously, you were involved running coaching with Liverpool Harriers. What was kind of going on for your life then before I kind of entered into it?
Well, I've always worked for myself for a start, and so I've always been self-employed. And I've been at the Harriers since 1996. So I was coaching. Obviously, I've been coaching them for around about 10 years, and so I'm doing pretty well as well. Yeah.
For that, I even remember that first conversation, and I didn't even understand, I don't know if you do, Tom, but how a running club even worked. I was kind of like, what do you do? Do you pay this coach every week? Do you pay the running club? What is it? A member? Like, I don't know. Do you know anything?
No, not at all. Don't know anything. To be honest, I've very rare. You don't even understand that there is. Obviously, you see running clubs running down the street, but you don't understand how even like competitive it is, or the drive to get people involved and that sort of thing, especially in inner cities and that sort of thing. So
yeah, well, there's right through the UK and all over Europe and all over the world. There's running clubs and there's little hubs. Well, you've been to our place, haven't you? In Wavertree, we've got our clubhouse there, and everyone's there is voluntary. Everyone there, and from my side, I was a runner there. So obviously I was running and getting in the teams and doing well. Then sort of like it was getting a bit tougher then to get in the team, so I was helping out, doing a bit of coaching. So we just started a little small group up, 3 or 4 of us, that was it. Went from there.
How old was you when you started? You kind of gave up the running and looked a bit more at the coaching?
Looking back now, I started running when I was 20, I'd say properly when I was 21.
As in competitively?
No, I mean, my father-in-law, Alan, I was going out jogging with him for a few years, going on runs and stuff like that. And he kept on pushing me, saying, look, you could be good. And I just didn't believe him. I just kept on running and enjoying it, because I never ever ran for competitive reasons. I never ran because it made me feel better. You know what I mean? It made me feel good. And
that's what I want people to get from this by the end of it, I think, because even what you've just said then, it was one of the reasons I wanted to run. I think with all this lockdown and how crazy this year's been, I think that's what a lot of people have found, haven't they?
They have. The parks are chock around.
I remember when lockdown first hit, me and you spoke on the phone for about an hour and a half, don't you remember? I was sitting in my back garden and we were just talking about running and how good it was seeing so many people out running.
It was unbelievable, brilliant. And you just hope they'll keep it going.
Yeah.
Once you get the bug.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to let go,
away then, aren't you? And
What did you think of Andy when he first rocked up? Then did you think who's this kid and he hasn't got a chance?
We were gabbing away and we were talking, and he was mentioning this record. He mentioned it a couple of times. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know how fast it had been, and we spoke about it, and he seemed right up for it. I said, well, we were gabbing away, and said I had nothing to do for a couple of hours, and Everton Valley's only about 2 minutes in the car from our house, so I said, where are you? And the next minute we sat there with chatting. And then after the meeting, after it wasn't a meeting, was it? It was just off the cuff chat. After the chat, I thought this lad could be up for this. So I said, do you fancy coming down next week to the Harriers? And I thought, let's see if he comes. Because you get lots of people who come on. I want to join me kid's goods and whatever. Someone refers, to you, and they don't turn up. He turned up. I went, okay, like, see you Thursday. Turns up Thursday. See you Saturday. Turns up Saturday. I knew he was up for it.
It was quite intimidating, when I don't get anxiety, but sometimes I think a lot of women suffer anxiety in going to a gym. They say, I'm not going to a gym. I feel like my sisters hate it, going to a gym because they just feel. I felt like that going to the running track.
Out of place.
Yeah, just so out of my comfort zone.
I think a lot of people feel like that, like especially in gym, not only females, but men, going to a gym for the first time. It's quite daunting.
Yeah.
How do you use the equipment? It is.
Yeah. I only realised that though after going to a running track. I mean, because I'd been in the Marines since I was 17, I'd always been around gym stuff and knew what I was doing. But to a running club again, it's that feeling like you'd get in a gym, you're scared looking stupid, aren't you? Am I doing the right stretches or am I...
home as well? You come to the club on your own. You never come with anyone, did you? It was just like come down, see you Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, before you knew everyone after the second.
Well, that was an amazing thing. And one thing I always get, whether people read the book, they listen to the podcast, or hear me talk, and they're interested in running.
Yeah.
I must get a couple of messages a week on social media asking, how do I improve me running? Straight away, I just say join a running club. Not only for the improving your running, I say you'll meet loads of mates. You'll meet just loads of people, lovely people, and again, me turning up on my own, just was introduced to this little family.
Yeah.
And again, going back to what we said before, you realise just that there is a whole world out there of running.
Yeah. And it's and other people obviously within it are competitive, so you'll see yourself, you'll see, fuck me, he's quick.
Yeah.
And I want to try and, how do I get to his level? Whereas if you're running on your own, of course.
Yeah,
you're not going to see that, are you? So,
I mean, one thing what was evident right away, Andy, everyone was you were welcome with open arms, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
But he was treated like everyone else. It was like they wanted to beat him.
Yeah.
There was no like was he?
That was a big thing for me. I hated in life anyone who looks at me, sees me leg and then thinks, there
was no special treatment, mate.
No, and I probably wouldn't have turned up again if there was.
Yeah.
And I think for you, it's a bit of a cheesy quote, but I absolutely love it, and I think it sums you up, Tony, to a T. I say you're a good friend of mine, a bit of a mentor and a coach, but Colin Powell, the American general, he was once asked, he was very, very successful in the military and then jumped into the political sphere, and again was very well respected. And he was once asked, what makes a great leader? And he said, a great leader is someone who you will follow, if only out of curiosity. And I think with your mannerisms and just the way you were just like, confidence, even before I got to the track, it was like, fuck knows where this fella's going to take me, but I want to go. It was that feeling of like, just trust and immediate curiosity and what's this journey going to, we're going to embark on, where's it going to take me? And again, that then leads me to turn up to the running track, not knowing anyone, but thinking, just that excitement of thinking, that's a bit different, this. And
I would say the best compliment a coach can ever want is someone coming back. Especially in our sport, it's running, it's voluntary, it's free. You come and turn up. It's not like it's not like a football academy where it's arranged for you to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing. So if someone wants to come and do a hard running session, running up hills, as you know, or doing a cross country session on a Saturday morning, and then they're turning back up on a Tuesday, you're doing something right.
Yeah. And
that's what I always look for.
And and then that journey obviously began. So what did it? Because obviously it's very black and white, isn't it? We've got a target of 37. Is it 37 minutes?
37:53.
Got a target of 37 minutes. Yeah. Obviously we just need to beat it. But how did you go about that process then, of trying to beat that 37 minutes?
Well, soon after the meeting we had, I thought to myself, let's have a month of looking at him. Let's see if he turns up. Let's see if he's up for it, basically. You know what I mean? And
discipline.
Yeah, and he was there. He was on time. He was. As well as me giving him information, he's pushing me back, you know what I mean? What time be out here, So it's got to be two ways, it can't be one. Okay, sound, I've got a bit of knowledge about running, stuff, great. He's definitely got the desire, the will. I thought, well, let's see if he can turn up and if he comes. So I thought after a month, I thought, he's up for this here. So we were gabbing away, weren't we, about potentially doing it at Little and Track, weren't we?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so we've talked, I'm thinking about it, I'm saying it's not the right environment, it's not right, it's a great track. There's nothing round there. There's no. My idea for it was to have it on a club night, weren't it? While everyone was there. So on a Tuesday, Matt, on a Tuesday and Thursday, we have our club nights, don't we? And it's busy at the club that night, isn't it? So the idea for me was, let's do it just after all the kids' sessions are out the way. So I arranged for them all to stay behind, so it created an atmosphere. That's what gave us the atmosphere leading into the actual race. So
you had that plan from the start, really, didn't you?
Right away. I could see it right away. Yeah. Well, after a month I did.
Yeah, I was very naive, thinking like I just want to break this record, and didn't really see the add-ons that could have potentially went around it. And straight away, you just the cogs were turning straight away. And
I mean, after the first meeting, I thought, well, the objective for me then was like, I think this fella's up for it, right? Let's have a little think. For me, let's have a think about it and have an early plan for him. So that was a month. And then from there, we were gabbing away where it could possibly be. And then we had did we have about 12 weeks training for it or something like that?
Yeah.
Was it?
I think it was a good 4 months or something, I would have said.
Yeah, it was probably 4 months by the time we got the date through.
Yeah.
Because, Matt, we needed, it's not a case of just turning up and running 25 laps. We needed to get like a permit and stuff like that. We needed official referees, official UK Athletics official referees, which is Taff Williams and Mike Doolan, and because it had to be right. And because no one can, we were taught it was always about this Guinness
World Record,
World Record, and I was like, okay, so let's, and it was always if, weren't it? And I said, well, look, listen, if that if goes on for 10 years, at least you've officially got your time, you've got referees here, and to make it official. And once we set all that up and had the date, then I can build a training plan.
Yeah, I remember seeing the documentary, and I think there was at one point, and for anyone who obviously hasn't watched it, Paragon, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was a point in it where I think you were just in a normal park, and it was chucking it down.
Yeah, the mystery next to Wave. Yeah.
And I feel like from an outsider to think 37 minutes, to even have a clock in your mind thinking I need to be at this point at this time, otherwise, I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Not off, yeah.
So like, how does that work then? So are you just are you doing it per lap? Are you like, because I suppose the question I'm trying to get is like, how do you push yourself when you don't know what time? Like, how far do you actually keep pushing yourself until?
Yeah, well, do you remember the plan? Do you remember? So obviously, there was training sessions which mimic and try and that feeling. Obviously, the idea was to run 90 seconds a lap, wasn't it, Andy? Mm-hmm. And which is 6 minute miling, which gives them around about 37.
17 it was.
37, 12, 20, whatever, yeah. And so there was training sessions for that specific pace, 6 minute mile, and there was training sessions at the pace below, which is 5k pace, which we went to Crystalton, didn't we?
Yeah, Crystalton, yeah.
Yeah, and we was trying to get them to be able to run a 5k in around about 5:45, 5:50 pace, and that gives them,
That's quick, isn't it?
That's basically speed work for a 10k. If you can go and run 10, 15 seconds a mile quicker than what your planned race is going to be, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so with that, and that gave him the confidence, because it was over to you with Crystal, and there was sessions to try and get Andy to take on that feeling, what it feels like to run that pace. And he was in a group. He was in a group where the group was looking after him in sessions, not looking after him, giving him any type of special treatment, but a pace. He was paced in sessions as well, and then obviously that led into. So everything's, you'd have a starting point and a finish point, which is the race. The starting point was to build up. I think we had about 10 weeks or something. After he had a base of training, 10 weeks of, building up. And we had a couple of weeks of just gradually taping, didn't we? And it went into it. But
one of the biggest surprises, I thought, was I used to just turn up at my dog down Crosby Beach, lift the boot, off I would jump out the car. I'd give it a couple of leg swings, a couple of, circle my hips, a couple of star jumps, and then I'd just run for 6 miles.
Yeah.
Clock me time, 42 minutes. Fucking hell, God, I'm 5 minutes off here. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I'd 5 minutes is a long time as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I turned up the running track, thinking that I'm pretty fit. I'm like, well, I'm running 42 minutes, I'm all right. I turned up and he'd go, right, guys, I'll see you on the track, go for your warm-up. So the guys would go, come on, Andy, this is what we do. And I went for like a, mile and a half, is it, or something?
Yeah, around the mystery, it was where,
so
talking about where we did that
session. Do a little mile and a half run. And it's not like a slow jog, it's a decent jog. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, like, what's this? This the warm up? Like, and you're nervous already then for the session, and then so you've done like a little mile and a half run just to warm up, and then you're doing 10 or 15 minutes of stretches. So already, if that's maybe took you say 10 minutes, so you're 20 minutes into a session, and you've not even started it yet. Whereas normally that would be me halfway through. my session.
Yeah.
So straight away, mentally, I think I was thinking, fucking hell, this is...
A lot of talking as well, we're chatting away, aren't we? And
yeah, and there's all like critiquing things, and then you get onto the running track, and if, again, people ask me this all the time, how do I bring my speed down? It's just track sessions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tracks.
Training. So in your case, you want to run, the idea was to get you ready to run 6 minute mile for your race. Yeah. But you've got to do speed sessions to be able to do that. So that's the pace below 10k would be 5k, pace below 5k would be 3k, pace below that 1500 metres, and then you'd be doing fartleks, which would be it's sprints and stuff like that, which are not timed, but you know you're running quick. So there's a balance, there's different training intensities leading up to it, which is all good. But you've seen the benefits of that when you went and ran Crystleton. You couldn't believe what time you ran for 5k. You knew then that was the beginning of like, whoa, I've got a chance here.
Starts to believe in it then, yeah. So the 5k run that we done, again, I was running maybe 5k in 21 minutes, I think. And I'm running maybe about 6-7 weeks. And Tony says, right, I'm going to throw you into this 5k race, be a bit of confidence for you, and I want you to really, go for it. And I ran it in 18:07.
Fantastic.
And I was like, it's 5 minute, 50 minute mile pace.
Yeah.
And again, I always think a great thing for me was, it was difficult to talk to, not difficult, but when I was talking to other runners in the group, they were all already fantastic runners. It was when I went back and spoke to lads from the Marines, who were fit lads, and I'm saying, I've just ran a 5:50 minute mile pace. They're like, fuck off, one leg and you're still doing that.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I'm feeling good here.
Feeling good.
And that Crystleton run was, I've never felt so happy in a run apart from when I broke the record. That like just flying down those country lanes.
Yeah. And that was always in my plan for you to run Crystleton. But when I knew, obviously, you were going to do it, I didn't want to talk to you about it. It was too soon to talk yet. There was certain training stuff you needed to do. I was still on that, like, he needs to keep turning up, So it was like, but once obviously we knew about it when we got closer to it, didn't we, a couple of weeks before it, but with your lack of experience in like training at that type of level, it was a bit too much to talk about the race too early.
Yeah.
Okay, you're always talking about your 10k, you know what I mean? That was great, but that was enough to be worried about, you know what I mean? The journey leading up to that, I sort of kept it low, didn't I?
And you said before that, before this happened, before you met Tony, that you were not feeling, like there was an element that you weren't feeling, you didn't have a target, you didn't have goals and things like that. So I suppose, did you start to feel that, I don't want to use the word like worthiness, but do you know what I mean? Like you were starting to...
And that's why I wanted to get Tony on, especially around this 10-year record, because it's been such a shit year, hasn't it, for so many people, and people have just felt like they've got nothing to get up for, and nothing. There's no point in nothing no more, and you can't go anywhere. And for me, running again, not just running, but then having a purpose and setting myself goals.
We always spoke about that, didn't we? Having a purpose.
Fuck me, like, and then Tony became a really good friend, and then you talking to him. And then even when I'm not running, I'm texting him, calling him. So I'd gained a really good friend and a load of other friends, runners. Tuesday and Thursday come, and I'm excited, thinking, what am I doing tonight? Oh yeah, I've got running. Yeah. I'm probably not maybe drinking then as much because I know I'm training.
Yeah.
So then suddenly, just by going for a run 3 or 4 times a week with this running club, I'm not drinking as much. I'm sleeping better. I'm tired, so I'm sleeping better.
Yeah, of course.
Mentally, I feel like I'm getting closer to my target, so I'm feeling there's a bit more of a spring in my step. And you think it's all just by putting a pair of trainers on and going for a run.
Yeah.
That's literally what started this kind of ball rolling of my life, getting a bit more purpose, a bit more just enjoyment, fulfillment, and worthiness. I was just...
Were you doing the motivational talks at this point or not?
Yeah, and it was only when I sat down with Phil and wrote my book that I was completely honest. And I was doing these motivational talks, and I was going through a breakup at the time with my little girl's mum. I was drinking too much, I was gambling too much, and my life was literally just fucking crumbling around me. And I'm going to do these motivational talks, and it's just an act. I'm just on stage, pretending everything's great and all this. And I remember one time, mate, I got in, I'd done this motivational talk, got a standing ovation, sat in my car afterwards and cried all the way home. Because I was going home, and Leonie was leaving me. This family's breaking up. I'm kipping, I think it was on my dad's couch, I think, or something. And just everything's fucking got, but yet there I am on stage doing this motivational talk, and then everyone's like, oh, you're amazing, wow, fantastic. And
preaching as in like you need purpose, all this, like when in the background, it was all...
It was all gone to shit. And it was only when I wrote the book that I kind of opened up about that, because I felt like I was lying to people, you know what I mean, and I wasn't being honest. Whereas when I started getting into running, again, that led into the motivational stuff, because I wasn't just talking the talk, I was walking the walk now. I was saying, actually, look, you know, this does work, I'm doing it now. And even post the record now, at the end, I mean, you've shown me presentation what I do. I talk at the end about that running club and about Tony. And I say, especially with kids, I say all the time, you know, why wasn't I breaking this world record? Because I was trying to do it on my own. Biggest thing I'd done wrong was trying to achieve that on my own. And I say to people, you know, nothing great is ever achieved by one person going it alone. It's when you surround yourself with like-minded people and you work as a team. And, you know, I always say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to change rooms. Life is all about surrounding yourself by people who are better than you. So I turned up at this running track. Fucking everyone was well faster than me. But I didn't care, because I knew just by hanging on to their coattails, I knew that would make me improve. You know, and it's all about the surroundings you keep, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You know, massively. Whether that's, you know, another quote I love, it's show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You know, you are a product of your environment. And so I was just thinking to myself, going from that rut I was in, I'm thinking, if I'm surrounding myself by this running coach who fucking knows everything about running, and these people who are running really fast, and it's making me feel better about myself, then it's a fucking no-brainer, isn't it?
Everyone encouraging you, and that's how it works in the group at the areas. If there's anyone who just wants to be there for themselves, they're out. That's it. You've got to contribute something to it. You know, if you want to just turn up and just get off and do your own thing, it probably won't work for you.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And also, like, not caring what other people think, because you wouldn't have turned up at that. Good point. If you were, you know, oh, they're going to think I'm slow, or they're going to think X, Y, and Z. You know, and so many people have those thoughts. We all have those thoughts, don't we? Like, but, you know, not caring what these people who you could put on a pedestal because they're runners as such.
I had a little chat with the group after the session. You were, I think you were due down on the Tuesday. I think I spoke with them over the weekend or something. I said, look, there's a Marine coming down, and he's going to try and attempt something special, so we're responsible for trying to help him. Not me on my own, all of us. And they were like, you know, obviously Ryan, James Muscat, Alan Aston, they were like, yeah, where is he? I said, he'll be down next week. And then...
Yeah, you felt that, and I think that's the thing about running, mate. And the other funny thing, and it's probably me judging people when I'm saying this, but before I teamed up with you and stuff, and you do runners come in all shapes and sizes. Do you know what I mean? And you turned up at this running group, and people are, you know, young, old, you know, men, women, all shit, and it's like what you said then, no one gives a fuck. You're just there, you're having a go, you're doing your best, because you've all got your own targets and your own little goals. So it's just about, you know, leaving the ego at the door and coming in, fucking giving it all you've got, and taking as much as you can from the session and those around you. Take
the information on board, learn from it. The recovery as well, in between. When you go home, remember we were having a chat where he was knackered all the time, and he's turned up for some sessions, just went, first couple of weeks were great. No, I knew there'd be a period where he'd be tired, so I thought it'll just be the session, but I'll ask about him. So what have you been doing? I've done this yesterday, done that yesterday, done this. I'm buzzing, I'm loving it. I went, come back a bit. You need to be ready for the sessions, wouldn't you? Remember that?
Yeah. That was around the time when, again, which made the documentary Paragon really cool. So we were working with Matt and Nick. Nick was the cameraman and Matt was the producer. And again, at this time, I'm just concentrating on breaking the record. And Tony's kind of cogs going in his head, and Matt's doing this documentary. And you kind of just dropped into combo that you'd ran with Ronnie O'Sullivan, you coached him a little bit.
Yeah.
So Matt, the producer's like, hang on, fucking, he's now, what he was 5-time, now 6-time world champion. He's like, hang on, so you mates with Ronnie, do you think he'd want to come in the documentary?
Only in Liverpool, eh?
And the great thing about this documentary was it started off with just me going, let's see if we can record me breaking this record. And then it just fucking snowballed into, now I've got this running club, now this coach knows Ronnie O'Sullivan, we're going to go meet Ronnie, and you arranged for us to meet Ronnie, didn't you?
Yeah.
So we went down to meet Ronnie, and that's the other thing I want people to take from this podcast, because it's not so much about my story, but about what running has done for me and for people. You're speaking to someone like Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he puts his, you know, he dedicates a lot of his success down to his running.
Yeah.
Says how much it just helped him, you know, and obviously you met him when he was in Liverpool.
Well, he knows a lot of people in Liverpool, Ronnie, and Ronnie's mate John, I've known him forever, and he's always known I've been mad on running and I can help people. So John just phoned me one day, do you want to come and meet Ronnie and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And friend of mine, Joey Parkinson. Joey knew Ronnie as well. He's a great runner, Joey. I'll speak about him later. And that's where that started. But Ronnie never got into running to try and break a time. Obviously, Ronnie's had his problems, which is well documented, and it was similar to mine. It just made him feel better, you know. And as Ronnie's got a little bit addictive, isn't he? He wants to be the best at it, and same for me. And we got better, so we got on really well. We were on the same page right away, me and Ronnie, as soon as I met him. And he just said, how'd you get into running? Have you ran since you were 10 or something? I went, no. I never started till I was like 21 or something, or 21. And I just run for therapeutic reasons. It makes me feel good. I went, really? And you run these times? I went, yeah. And then I said, if everyone else thinks you're all right for running these times, good for them. It makes me feel great. And he was going, I love it. Can I run with him? So we ran together. And he's always up for helping anyone, Ronnie. So when we were speaking that night, we said, Ronnie said, yeah, if we were phones, so we got him on the phone, and it was like, yeah, you're coming down. I went, I'm not going, I'm coaching you, go. I had a session the next day.
Such a surreal moment. Like, I love snooker anyway, but yeah, he's just such a nice guy, and what nice you'd done for him, running, done for him, it was amazing. I remember once, like years later, I'd just come back from on holiday. I ran a Paris half marathon with my friend, and I was in an airport in Paris. I was aching, just done this half marathon, ran it in like 1:30, got a good time. And he rings me, he's like, all right, Andy, where are you? No, he said, all right, Andy, do you fancy a run? And I was like, when? That's the first thing he said, fancy a run. I was like, when? He said, I'm going to be in Liverpool, I'm driving up now, I'm just seeing if you fancy a run in the morning. And I was like, I was fucking aching all over, but I was like,
going though, aren't you?
I'm not, yeah.
Going, aren't you?
Like, I'm not turning this down. So in the morning, I went for a little 5 miler with him. But yeah, mate, to see him and what running's done for him as well, and it just shows you as well, it doesn't matter whether you're a world champion snooker player, whether you're an ex-marine with one leg, or whether you just want to, like you say, therapeutic reasons, just to get out.
Exactly. But one thing I remember when I obviously spoke with Ronnie while I was with you about, because they were there, and then he rang me the next day and he goes, look, Tone, I've only got like 10 minutes to do this, can you let the lads know, I just want to be quick. I said, yeah, all right, Ron. And then I never mentioned it to them, and then he phones me and goes, mate, we were only meant to be there 15 minutes, it was 2 hours. Yeah.
Oh, he loved it, mate. And then afterwards he was like, have you done your run today? And I was like, not yet. And he's like, yeah, I'll jump in the car, I'll show you where I run. Yeah. He's driving me like round his area and stuff. Oh, mate, he loved it. And like stayed friends since, so it was... it's just boss when you meet runners with that passion, and running's helped them in different ways.
Well, it's been unbelievable for me, and that's where my passion comes from for coaching. So if I can just pass on a little bit what it's given to me, brilliant.
Did you feel pressure because there was the documentary as well, and you were thinking, come on, I've got to, I can't, do you know what I mean? I can't fail this now because I've got a documentary coming out.
Andy, I don't think we ever felt nothing. We were just in this bubble of like...
Yeah, only I like on the day at lap, like kind of when I was like 3 or 4 laps to go. That's the only time I felt. The training bit just felt like this massive buzz. It was like, because it was getting bigger all the time, my times were getting better. I was becoming, really close-knit group. Training was so fun. I felt like I was flying. And then the documentary side, we had like Ronnie got on board, Scott Quinnell, a British and Welsh rugby legend, got on board. Tom Hardy done us a voiceover. So all these little bits were coming along, and I was like, fucking hell, this is cool, this. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was... And that was obviously a massive...
Carragher on it for one thing.
Carragher was on it, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it just added to that, didn't it? It just kept on.
I guess that was down to you, being my coach, was just kept it kind of... You don't know, just kept it fun and never ever felt pressure.
No.
At all.
Tried to keep it away from you and stuff like that. Even when it was... When we were in chats, and I think we had a chat about... Maybe 2 weeks before, I went, so... What have I done to it? Hey.
Yeah.
The doubt had started to creep in.
It was like well, they call you'd be able to say more, but they call it windy wavery, don't they?
Yeah, it is.
And I was just thinking, when you think the uncontrollables, you're like, what if it's windy? What if it's raining? What if this? And the great thing was, though, about 2 or 3 days before the race, we'd done that run each mentioned
3 days,
before.
Yeah, 3 days before.
And it was pissing down. Weather was horrendous. These are sitting in the back of the car trying to record me to get like good footage for the documentary, and it's pissing down. He's got me running like really fast times, and I smashed the session. And after it, that's when I knew I was going to break the record. I thought, if I ran that time in this wind and rain,
the weather was poor. In Wavertree, obviously it's called the Mystery Park, right next to the track, and along the long straight, every tree is on an angle. Every single tree, which must be 100 years old, the trees, wasn't it? And they're all on, and because the wind. And the day was terrible. I went, this is perfect. So we had the cameraman in the boot, remember?
Yeah.
So I'm driving the car. I've drove the car onto the park with permission.
Yeah.
I told you we had permission, didn't I? We never had permission. So we're on the park. We've got Nick, the cameraman, in the back. We've got Matt, and I'm driving, and I'm shouting at him, you know. And I remember Matt Owen saying, "Tony, you're driving 30, you know." In the park with the cameraman in the back. It was brilliant,
Mad, wasn't it? Yeah. After that session, that was a massive confidence boost to think if I can do it now.
You still managed the pace in them conditions.
Yeah.
And that was what the message was, weren't it?
Yeah. I guess as well though, for that, for you as a coach, when we're doing these running sessions, it's not just kind of me who's going through my little journey. Yeah. You're coaching however many people in your group, aren't you?
Yeah.
And everyone's running for the different reasons as well, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, as on group sessions, you'd have your objectives, you know what I mean, with your paces and stuff like that, but everyone's still looking after each other. It's like if someone's, in your case, you're looking to run 6 minute miling for a 10k. We've got some young kids in the group who are looking to run 6 minute miling for 5k, so it works for them.
Yeah.
You're running the longer. You're training for the longer distance. Well, in their case, they are, because they're like short, like 1500 metre runners trying to get a 5k time for their age group. So it works for everyone. And
your lad, is it Gezimu, was he?
Gezimu, yeah.
Gezimu.
Yeah.
What a runner he was. That again.
Tajine.
Tajine, that's it, yeah.
Well, he ended up. Tajine came from.
Just come a bit closer,
yeah,
sorry.
Sorry, boys.
Pull your chair. It's all right.
Yeah, Tajine came from he's from Ethiopia, isn't he? So we met. Well, I was doing a training session one Saturday morning in the Mystery Park, and he was just stood there watching with a friend of us, just on a bike, and he looked interested. I said, "Come over," and he was a bit shy. And
is that what you just said? To come over?
Just come over. He's a bit shy, so we come over, talking to him. He's like, "Well, he never spoke a word of English." I said, "It's like, you know, do you like running?" He went, yeah. I said, "You see over there, see that building, clubhouse, that club?" He went, "Yeah, track." I went, "Come there on Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Forgot all about there. He was Tuesday waiting for me.
Really, yeah.
So anyway, I brought him over to Sefton Park to do a session, right? You know, Maria Barrett and Alan was there, obviously the rest of the group. And Gesmu got lost. He got lost in Sefton Park.
He was just so fast. He just went off.
No, he wasn't really that good then. But you could see, just with the right coaching, the right
potential.
Yeah. So he just went the wrong way and got lost. So I finished the session, and we went to look for him. Sorry. A few were saying, a couple were saying to me, "Go and look for him now." I said, "Finish the session, we'll get him later."
Did you find him in the end?
We found him in the end. He was all right. And then I said, "Come back Thursday." Came back Thursday. I thought to myself after about 2 weeks, I've got to run it. There's someone here could be really good. He couldn't speak a word of English, by the way.
Really?
Very, very limited. And he kept coming round. He was not far from my house. He kept coming to train Tuesday and Thursday. He kept learning in bits and bobs. You know what I mean? More Scouse lingo, really. You know, hello lads. Just saying hello lads to everyone. And
how are we?
He just kept going. And I trained Gesmu for about, and no one knew about him. Trained him for about 3.5, 4 months. And I think he would have been probably probably right away a 35, 36 minute 10k runner right away. No problem. That was right away. So you're looking at where he's coming in from. So I trained him for a couple of months, probably. Yeah, and I spoke to, you know, the big Sefton Park 10k. What do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, there, and a fella named Matt who runs that. I spoke to him. It was sold out. I said, "Can you get him a number? I want to put him in. Got an idea from him." So anyway, puts him in the race, and Ian Lawton, you remember Ian? And I said to Gesmu, "You stay on him. Don't budge, stay on him." He went, "Behind." I went, "Yeah, behind. Stay on him until you see me at 8 kilometres. When I give you the thumbs up, you go. Okay, easy, no problem." So there's Gesmu running like that. No one knows who he is. Liverpool Harriers vest on and everything. Who's he? Next minute, "8k Gesmu." Yeah, and he went, bang, and smashed it and won. And then everyone was like going, "Who's this fella?" And he ran 2.5 minutes.
10k, yeah.
10k, yeah. And then from there, I thought, God, if I can keep this fella coming, he could be good. So we trained, and as he's training, obviously Taff Williams and Mike Doolan, getting him on college courses and stuff like that. His English started getting better, you know, and joined the club properly, started running, getting better and better and better, and he's done really well. In the end, he ended up running for England in the end, and come third in the Northerns. Remember having some fun with him at the Great Manchester Run. He'd had a long season, and the Great Manchester Run's a great run. Mo Farah and everyone's there. So
even the fact he's lining up against Mo Farah
right next to him.
That's incredible, that,
so
isn't it?
It was that long season. It was just a little bit of a jolly, to be honest with you. I said, "Go with Mo, see how long you can last for." You know what I mean? Go and get on the telly.
What an experience.
It was brilliant. It was really, really good. It's just a bit. It's very rare you can do that in a race where you can just sort of go. I'm just going to go with, go for it. You know what I mean? You've got to be controlled. And coming back to you and the 10k and stuff like that, we were controlled. We had a group wrapped round you at your race, didn't you? Alan Ashton was the boss. Yeah. Because we trust him. So we had like Andy always on the inside lane. The idea was never ever should he be going in the second lane because you're running further.
Of course, yeah.
So we had this.
What is the stats about that? So it's a mad one, isn't it? For every lap,
it's 7 to 8 meters longer a lap if you're in lane 2.
That is crazy, yeah. So versus the first to the outside, yeah.
First to second lane's 8 meters.
Just the first to the second.
So imagine the second, 7 to 8 meters, and then obviously add that on for your third. So Andy just hugged the curb all the way, and he never felt like that anyone was getting him right. They were all there for him. So we had like this funnel, didn't we? So we had 2 people on lane 2 and 3. You know what I mean? And then Andy on that, and then obviously Alan Astor at the front, someone else, and Andy was just sat in third, just protected, taking round. So Alan was going just a little bit under 90 seconds a lap, but every time Andy was going over, it was 90. And we worked it out in 10-minute blocks, if you remember.
Yeah. What was crazy about that? And again, for those who are into running, will probably respect this a bit more, but I didn't have a watch on or nothing, and these guys are just running a lap, and bang on every lap was 90 seconds. Now, you think how fucking difficult that is to run a lap and to have it literally within a second, because you've got the pacer that they're doing the laps. Every lap was within a second.
And they were all handpicked. There was no one. There was lots of people who wanted. I mean, most of the bloody club wanted to run that race. They knew it was going to be getting videoed, and it was such a big thing leading up to it. Everyone was like, mate, everyone stayed behind, but it was like, no. You've got to have people who will they're there for him.
Yeah, of course.
It was perfect because what it was, mate, it was like, look, you're going to be running for 37 minutes, right? So 10 minutes, 90 seconds a lap. Don't even look. You've got no watch. Just run. Don't think of the next 10 minutes. That was the big thing, weren't it? The second you start thinking in the next 10 minutes, you're losing the plot. Stay in the moment, stay in now. You know what I mean? And he did. So, obviously, me and Carragher were walking around the infield, weren't we? Shouting him and encouraging him, stuff like that. But I just kept on telling him, think of this now, this 10 minutes. And then when we get to 10 minutes, I said, Andy, so we had 3 rounds. Right, Andy, round 2, next 10 minutes. He was like, yeah, and it was brilliant. And the last 7 minutes looked after itself, didn't it?
Yeah. I always remember when you asked before if I felt any pressure. I felt pressure in. It's so funny. So there was 25 laps and I got to like lap 21, 22. And that's when I started to feel it. I was like, this is tough, this now. Like, I'm in a race now. And when I run down the home straight, there was all the crowd there. My family were at the finish line. It was great. The noise was amazing. I felt like I was in the Olympics or something. It was doing the 100 metres. It was great. But then as you ran round the other side, because a little bit of wind and it was a bit further away.
Quiet.
It was quite quiet.
Yeah.
And I think like Tony was going from side to side. And then on this one particular lap, Carragher walked over on his own and was standing on the far corner. And he went, like, come on, lad, keep going. And it literally took me back to 2005 when I was in the 80s in Bootle watching Istanbul. And he makes a clearance and stands up and does the same thing. He's like, come on. Yeah. And I'm thinking,
that's cool,
fucking hell, like my hero, my absolute childhood hero was watching me attempt to break a world record, and he's doing the same gestures that he done to win the European Cup. And as I ran down that back straight, I thought to myself, I can't fuck this up now, because it would never be this replicating it again. Going to Carragher the next day. All right, Jay, I'm gonna try that again
next week.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, fuck, I need to do this. Like, fuck. But it just gave me wings. Do you know what I mean? Knowing that my hero was there, and then you had Callum Smith was there, one else super middleweight world champion. He's there, and that's what's great about the city, isn't it? Like the lads in the gym. It's one big family, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
The city really kind of got together with like the superstars like Callum and Jamie, but then to all the lads and the girls in the running club, my family, friends. It was just this really special night. And the last couple of nights, like Tony said, you didn't even think about the last few laps, did we? It was just it's done then.
It's done. And as we're talking now, and I keep thinking, I didn't realise how much pressure you could have possibly, you've called the sun, haven't you? Basically, you told everyone, look, I'm going to do this. Everyone knew about it. I'm confident that I can give you a training plan. But you need to turn up. You need to believe in it and everything. To actually do it. I mean, I don't feel pressure or anything like that. No, I just know. the idea of what I'm saying, it will work, but you've got to want to take it on board and do it. But so then we never spoke about it. Did it? Wants to keep it all away from you and keep yourself down. Remember that meeting we had upstairs before we went out?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, all the group together.
It was all grouped together.
Yeah,
so
a little pep talk.
Was that on the documentary?
Yeah. So we had everyone upstairs. It wasn't ever. I mean, it was all properly planned. Everyone knew what they needed to do. Doesn't it? I had a meeting with the group on their own, by the way, which he didn't know about. And then I had a meeting while he was there. Do you know, and
the group that's going to be running with
the Pacers, and I think he was out with his dad or something. So I had 2 minutes with them upstairs. Said, right, let's get on. We had a chat, and and it was great seeing just walking out. That was. They had the cameras there and all that, but that wasn't planned. What was planned was the meeting, you know.
Yeah.
So we warmed up, didn't we? Went through everything, went upstairs, changed his shoes, and then we were walking out, and you got it on the video coming out, didn't you?
Yeah. I was like drones in the sky and everything. It was mad.
Yeah, it's cool, that wasn't it?
My best mate Ryan from the Marines though did say to me, like, he was like on the morning, he was like, mate, you fucking best break this, otherwise you're gonna look like a fucking tit, you know. You
That's
told
typical Marines, and put it right on him.
Well, yeah, he's one of my best mates, and he just said straight away, he's like, you are gonna look like the biggest idiot in the world if you don't do this. He's like, you've been gobbling off about it so much for weeks. And the tough thing for me was,
it's like getting in a ring, and he's going, and you've got to go, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's it. I've got to gob off about it because people need to know about it to make it a big thing.
To come down and
But then so you've got to build it up. But then the more I'm building it up, it's like, fucking hell, I've got to do it now. Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was so, the whole thing just happened from the sitting on the bench in Everton Brow to them crossing the line. It just happened so quick.
Yeah.
The whole thing right the way through, and I'm doing coaching sessions. I'm mic'd up, chatting away, I'm screaming, shouting, swearing, this, that, and the other, spit coming out of me, whatever you want to call it. And when I realised, oh God, this is going into a documentary, I said to Matt, look, listen, I need to have a word with you and Andy, you know, what is it? And I said, no views to turn me into fucking Mickey out of Rocky. I'll kill you. I'll kill you because I'll never live it down. It's people like, imagine Cracker in the gym. Like, he wouldn't let you live it down, would he? People like him.
Yeah.
Wait, you know, so was this done on a normal running evening, or it was just all organised where you've got to be there at
Well, we have
7 p.m.
Sunday on a Tuesday night. And,
so it was part of that. It was part of that.
At the end of the club night.
Right.
So we'd have the people there, you know, and it was on a nice summer's night, wasn't it? It was lovely.
Yeah, it's 14th of July, 14th of July 2016. Yeah. And then I remember that the best bit about that, which is an interesting thing, actually, a running question for you in a minute, but one of the best feelings was running down that track, the last... Well, I remember running, and they were like, right, come on, Andy, I think they said 2 laps to go. And I was running, I said, nah, it's 3, isn't it? And he said, no, mate, you won't feel the last lap. So even, you know, just little things like that, you know, just helping you mentally, you think, I've got 3 to go here. And you're like, actually, no, it's...
care of itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we do these last 2 laps, and then there's 3, but I've done 2 in my head, and there's 1 to go. And then they ring the bell, and I'm concentrating, but I've had a little look up at the time, and I'm trying to work out in my head the numbers, and I'm just thinking, and then I'm trying to work out, and I'm losing track of what it is, and so I think, fuck it, there's not even point in even thinking what it's going to be. Like, they'll know if I've done it right. And I'm running, and I get down on the home straight, and the paces just start drifting away with, like, you know, 70, 80 metres to go. And I'm just sprinting down the track. Got hundreds of friends and family there, my dad and my sisters, and Tony, your our fellow was there.
Fabulous, yeah.
And I'm running. I felt like I'd won gold in the Olympics, mate. Do you know what I mean? It was the best feeling ever. And as I run, I get to like 30 metres before the finish line, and I can see the time. It's like 37:10, and I'm like, fucking hell, like it's gonna. I've done it. Like, I've done it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm flying like the last 50 metres, and I'm like, fucking hell, I've smashed this by. I think it was 36 seconds to beat it by in the end. Yeah. And that feeling, mate, at the end, and goosebumps now thinking about it. It wasn't the fact that I became the fastest disabled man in the world, or the fastest one-legged man, whatever we want to call it. I felt like I'd put that injured soldier to bed.
Brilliant.
It was no more that, Andy, he's, you know, he's got one leg, or he got blown up, or isn't he unlucky? That moment, I was like, right, fucking do not define me by that one bad day in the office in Afghanistan. You want to define me, let's go for a run, and then we can talk about it. Yeah. And for me, that was just the rebirth, if you like, do you know what I mean? And the fact that I'd set my mind to it, I'd got my life back on track, and I'd done it. Started crying, just hugging my dad and my sisters, and it was just the best feeling in the world to have everyone there support me going on that journey for, you know, 4 to 6 months, whatever it was. It was, it just felt like I'd just put to bed that injured soldier.
And that's the most important thing here, you know, brilliant. I mean, as soon as I remember you coming in, remember the idea was everyone move out the way, let him run the last 100 on his own. You've done your work, you know, not the last 400, take him right the way through, last 100 another home straight, and I could see him coming through, and I just remember my alpha with the tightest white t-shirt and the derby out here, thinking, oh, come on lad, it was brilliant.
It's a boss photo of him, isn't it?
It was brilliant, yeah, and I like that, mate. That was great from my and everyone's buzzing, running everywhere, jumping everywhere. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I remember going on the indoor track, because the indoor was open, there's not a soul in there, just the doors open, goes in there and shouts at the riggers, get in, you fucking dead loud. No one in there, and then come out and tire everyone.
What was the closest time you'd got to that?
Well, I'd never attempted it.
So you'd never...
On my own type thing.
Just on your own, yeah, just...
About 30, 39 something.
I think he's on Port
Sunlight, 39 something it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Still a couple of minutes off, yeah. Couple of minutes off still.
Which is a long way.
Yeah, when you think it's...
You know?
When you're getting down
2
to
minutes.
Well, when you break it down in terms of mile pace and things like that, you know, over 6 miles, you know, you're looking at, 20 seconds a mile, aren't you? Something like that.
It's tough, yeah. I understand if people aren't into running, you might think, but if you're into running and you're trying to... You'll know in your head you can run a whatever per mile pace, like normally when I'm going out just for a normal jog, I'll run 7.5 minutes per mile. But then to suddenly say, right, you're just going to run 7:10 per mile, doesn't sound a lot, but 20 seconds a mile is a lot, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's 5 seconds a lap.
Yeah.
You know, it's big.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to anyone, if you're serious about running and you want to get a fast time, you've got to join a running club. Yeah. You've got to join a club, be around faster people, and do those track sessions, which are going to improve your pace.
That's why I was saying earlier on in the podcast, I needed to see you for a month and see what you had. You're already had at your disposal, and then I wanted to see what I can. What I mean is what you had, what fitness you had, what type of runner you were, and then I wanted to add them to that. You know, take away the bad bits, add some good bits. I knew what you did have was desire, which is to do it, and you were going to turn up, so you got a chance. We needed good weather that night, and we got it, didn't we?
Yeah.
How good was the weather?
The stars were aligned that night.
It was unbelievable. It was
calm and
it was perfect.
Yeah.
But we were always convinced it was going to be.
Yeah.
We just believed that in the process, and remained right the way through. It's all going to be good. There's not one negative.
I think as well, mate, and it's a little bit like how this podcast started, in the sense of didn't set out for fame and for fame and fortune, if you like. It just was like, you know what, I want to try and redefine myself. I want to put this injured soldier to bed and be a good runner. And because you started off with kind of honest reasons, if you like, and just good hard work ethic and attitude, what then followed was, met a great friend in Tony, got a coach and a mentor, met these great runners. My mental health improved, my physical health improved. This documentary was born with fucking Tom Hardy and Carragher,
it's unbelievable. Stephen
Graham, Ronnie O'Sullivan, all these things started to align. We ended up then renting out the Odeon in Liverpool 1. Everyone who was at the night, most then come to the evening, the screening. It then was on ITV. And you think, this little idea, I think if you do it for the right reasons, and it's like what we always...
When you're talking now, Andy, when you're talking about it, I'm thinking, you don't realise.
Yeah, you don't. It just
exploded.
It just explodes, and I think that's what we've said about the podcast. Just something that we do in our little spare time, a few hours a week, little hobby. No massive grand plans to say, we're going to be the biggest podcast in the world. It's just you do because you enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's great.
Your objective's not for that, is it?
It's not. It's you enjoy it, and you'd be surprised where it goes if you do something for the love of it.
Yeah, 100%. Rather than going, if I hit that 37, I might get Adidas to sponsor. But
Well, now you look at it, you go, okay, sound. I was just a runner, a jogger. Joined Liverpool, I was become a runner. Done okay. Got on the Adidas team. That's okay for me. Start helping runners out. Next minute, I'm doing documentaries. I'm talking on podcasts. This wasn't it was not for me.
Yeah.
I love coming on talking, don't get me wrong, I'll have you here till 5 o'clock if you want. If I can help just a little bit and have a gab. But this was never my objective. It's just coming back to having really good people around you. Do you know what I mean? Who encourage you and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now, obviously I've encouraged Andy, he encourages me. I've just got good people around me like Owen Brown, Richard Green, Frank McParland, all Liverpool proper football people. And then that led into me helping football players out, but that was never my plan. then you help them out, they love it, and you think, oh God, I can help a bit here, and it just goes on and on and on. Isn't that's the good bit?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
He wants to know. He wants to be the biggest in anything in the world. We just be, I want to be the more. I do thrive for fame, but it's in our house. That's where I want. Yeah, I do thrive to be the best coach in the world, but it's in our group.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? As long as I'm the best coach in our group, I'm happy. I don't care.
Do you ever think about the impact that you've had? So I'm just thinking about this lockdown and stuff as well, and we've all seen people's heads fall off. Mine being one of them, not being able to go to the gym. I'm normally training with you twice a week in the gym. We've not been able to do that for most of the year.
Yeah.
How have you found over the years, not just this lockdown, I don't know, like any experiences you might have, whether personally or people of just what running has done? Because speak about me and I speak about Ronnie, but it's people in all walks of life, isn't it, that running can help?
Oh God, it's fresh air for a start, getting out, having a purpose. Look at the parks we got in the city. Look at everything what's there. I was sitting, so I don't feel right. So you go, why have you been up to? I've just been watching Netflix or been watching films all the time. Get out, go for a walk around Sefton Park. Get up to Everton Brow and have a look at the city. Things like that. There's so much to do. But for me, I always, with running, I always knew there was something I was looking for. My missus will kill me, you know what I mean? But something I was looking for. I needed to get this energy out that I've got. I'm never ever comfortable sitting still. You could probably see it now tonight. So I could probably drink about 7 bottles still. But I needed something.
And you're leaning back for the microphone.
Sorry, everyone. I needed something to channel my energy into. And running.
Tom's sitting here like this, fucking sit by the microphone.
Sorry, Tom. Being outdoors and things like that. Obviously, I remember being in school and loved outdoor pursuits. I love canoeing, rock climbing, crawling. Things like that, and
so like medieval running, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Is,
it's so like go back to whenever it was when we're hunting and gathering and like that, like very very primal sort of activity, isn't it? Running.
Us is just, look, going out running in groups is great.
Just turn the mic, mate, if you need to.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But I love going out on my own. I'm always around people all the time. Sometimes once a week I just go out on my own. One of Jockey's bobble, that's Jockey, there's your plug. One of Jockey's bobble, that's on, wrapped up, Everton Brow. Go for a run, I don't even know if it's half an hour or an hour and a half, just go and run.
That was a big thing for me, which, and again, I used to do it to you, and people do it to me. Now people say, how far do I need to run? What do I need to run? And you used to always say to me, just go and run for half an hour, just run for 40 minutes. And just the time, isn't it?
Don't worry about pace, Because that's another one, obviously Garmin's have come out with fabulous, brilliant, great for keeping data. Good to, obviously for pace and stuff like that, but people are using them every single day, every single run. And if that becomes too stressful and mad, it's like, on my recovery run, I was only running 8.5 minute mile, and who cares?
Yeah, everyone's got this data that they don't necessarily need.
And him coming back to what you said about running being obviously so natural and, and it's easy and accessible for people to do, it's like, for me, it's like, look, you've got a pace on sessions. I'm there with you on sessions, you know what I mean? That's your pace for you, So when on a recovery run, just run how you feel. Go for an easy run, be a little bit lazy. You're out there, run as a shakeout. That's what we call it.
We have become obsessed, haven't we, as a
yeah, it bothers me.
As a nation, if you like, even just everyone in the world, I guess, with
everything's measured.
How many steps you've done,
measured.
How many calories you've done.
The amount of Strava things you see being put on social media and that sort of thing, or just runs I've done and times and elevation, it's
everything, isn't it?
Yes, do we need that data?
And do you know what? Right, I'm not being funny. How many people actually understand all that data? Elevation, this, that, and the other. And I'm far from a dinosaur. I'm forward. I love new stuff. I study I try and do at least 20 minutes a day of studying new stuff. With my sports and stuff like that, but I still like the natural bit of it,
When you say study, do you mean like techniques in terms of like what breathing or
everything? The old. Obviously, with social media now, the positives of social media is the access of information you can get. You know what I mean? From different sports science departments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can look into that, and obviously running biomechanics into them, how things have changed. You know what I mean? Strength and conditioning. Everyone can know everything now, can't they? Within a second. So stuff like
it has become, and it's like you say, how much of it do you understand? It's like, unless you're Mo Farah or Usain Bolt and you're trying to go for, trying to get that each, if you're just, going for a run, you don't need all of that info, do you? You don't need it all.
It's too much.
If you're just a just kind of happy-go-lucky runner, Or even if you're quite a decent runner, do you really need every bit of info on there?
Yeah. Like, does any other sport, like, if you're playing golf, do you need to really know your swing speed and the ball? Do you know what I mean? You just hit the ball.
Yeah, they'll have people around, but you know what I'm talking. I mean, coming back to like grassroots running, athletics, especially running cross country and things like that. I'm thinking you've got so much growth to do, but just by running 3 or 4 times a week, just turn up, work with your coaches, and just listen. Don't be preoccupied with this thing on your arm and dictating your life. Know what I mean? It's getting bad. Recovery runs, the pace of recovery, and you said that to me 10 years ago. I said the world's gone mad. Recovering, you should know. A recovery run, Andy, is just an easy run. That's the way it should be. For me, anyway. People will probably say, "What you know?"
It's even if you're not running, just in general, people are obsessed with steps and stuff, aren't they? Now,
yeah.
I need to be doing this and I need to be doing that. I think too much emphasis, like you said, it's gone away from that natural feel, hasn't it?
Gone from that natural feel. And when people go, "Oh yeah, but Garmin this," I said, "Look, listen, learn to trust you. You know, I want you. It's not me saying get that Garmin off the crap. I mean, they're brilliant, but use them properly. You know, use your own brain. Your brain, someone's brain invented the Garmin, so we're cleverer than them. You know. Well, look, I said just trust it. Basically, the message is trust yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got obviously if you're out, look, listen, Garmin's are great. I'll tell you what they're good for. If you're out, you're doing a long tempo run or something like that, 7 or 8 miles, and you want to go and after a warm up, you want to go and run 8-minute mile, and they're great for that. But that's for specific work, innit? You know. But for recovery runs, you just need to try and, you know, relax, get in touch with nature, chill out, go for a run, get in the park and just run easy. You know, you just know that you've got an hard session tomorrow. You should be able to work out what's easy and hard.
You can sometimes fall victim of that. I remember me and my mate Steve. He's in the Paras, or he was, and we went to climb Snowdon, and we just had that in our heads. You know, that's just that military thing. And it's just like, let's get up and down as quick as we went there for a day out. It was enjoyment, but you ended up just getting into that old military thing where you're like, right, let's get up there. Yeah. But then you got up there and got down. I was like, didn't even really stop to take it in.
You haven't looked around.
Just been like head down, boom. I think we went up and down in about 2.5 hours. Yeah. And then I've done it with my family and stuff, and you do it in like 4 or 5, and you'd stop and having a little sandwich and a drink, and I'd take a few photos. And I think just in life in general, it's important, isn't it, just to take that step back. And
everyone's a million miles an hour, aren't they? And they can't help it until they get reminded of someone. Look. Calm down,
just slow down, yeah.
And that's why running can be great, can't it? Because when your life is a million miles an hour, if you have that half an hour to yourself, running on your own, clear your mind. People say, don't they all? That's when they do your thinking. You know, when you're just on your own.
Yeah. Have you ever been involved in any ultra marathons at all? Or?
No. I mean, I liked reading about it and stuff like that. Read lots of books about the Japanese and stuff like that. They're really good. Chinese, and they're right into it over there, you know.
And ultra is anything over?
Yeah, just like longer. You get like the famous ones, the Comrades Marathon in South Africa. Yeah.
How far is that?
Double marathon.
Is it?
It was like 52 miles or something like that.
There was a really good Netflix documentary about one in the US.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh,
the secret one.
Yeah, and it's like $1. You have to pay $1 to get. It's just,
and you got to bring a car registration plate as well.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, good.
Oh, what's it called?
We have to find it.
Isn't
it like
Oh, mate, it's crazy.
They're different level.
It's insane. Insane.
It's it's such a good documentary. Even if you don't like running, it's just a mad one.
You know, like them long distances like that. We've been like Jordan this lockdown. Been doing lots of walking with Bradley Orr. In the morning time, so we're going out. We're walking like 4 hours. And we're probably out for like say 13 miles or something. I said to Bradley the other day, I'm knackered.
Yeah.
He says, you're tired, you're meant to be in good shape. I said, I'd rather run it. Just get it done in an hour and a half, I can go home.
Yeah.
You know, so, but them longer, I couldn't do that.
Barclay Marathon.
That's it.
Barclay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, mate, Google what you have to do to get into it. It's fucking... do you want
me to read this here? So it's an ultramarathon trail race held in Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee. And if runners complete 60 miles, this is known as the fun run. The full course is 100 miles and distances. So the race is limited to a 60-hour period to do the 100 miles.
But it's all map reading as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a $1.60 new documentary idea.
God.
So it's a $1.60 application fee. So obviously they don't make any money from it. And then
I think you got to bring a car registration plate to where you're from.
Finish it. So you must submit a pack of Camel cigarettes as part of the registration fee. I think that's the guy who actually
they're just a bunch
runs
of
it,
hillbillies.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's mad, yeah.
Brilliant.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good little documentary, yeah. But I just love stuff like that because you just don't know what the human body's capable of, do you?
No.
Like, we don't now even know what it's capable of.
No.
And what you were saying before, if you're just looking at your watch thinking I'm running at this, you could be, it's limiting you.
Yeah, just go with it. Just go. I mean, we do sessions where it's like, okay, sound, but say we're doing 6 times 1 mile at 10k pace. So if I said, look, you're going to do 5 at 10k pace, now I need to blast the last one. People will go too easy on the first 5.
Of course, yeah.
Tell them later on. So you get to the last one, you go, right, somewhere at half know it's coming. Right, empty yourself on this. Go and find out a little bit more about yourself. You know, if you blow up, it doesn't matter. Just go, give it a go. And that's always for me, trying to push people into the next door, through the next door. Go.
Yeah. It's like when they say a marathon, 26.2 miles, and you're fucked at the end of it. But if you needed to, you could run more.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, in your program, right up to 26 points. Someone said, look, that's the ultimate, distance to do. So that's what we believe. If it was 30 miles or 40 miles,
you just run it.
Just run it, wouldn't you? Yeah.
This might be a stupid question, but how, if like the 4-minute mile?
Yeah.
Anyone you know or anyone part of the group has come near to that 4-minute mile or?
Yeah, it's very rarely ran now. The sub 4-minute mile. You know what I mean? The last person I from Liverpool areas to do it was a lad named Johnny Mell. He's based out in Manchester. Brilliant athlete, brilliant. But he ran sub 4 minute at Oxford. At the Iffley Road, the same track as Roger Bannister ran it. So
really,
Johnny ran the first sub 4 there. And,
that's a bit iconic, that, isn't it?
Brilliant, yeah. But I remember John talking to me about that. He was, I think he'd been in Bulgaria or something. He'd ran a 10k and the conditions were horrendous, boiling, and he was a bit disappointed with his time. And he just said, "No, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to just wing it and just run some races and enjoy it." You know what I mean? So we just dropped down doing some middle distances. Went to Oxford. After a couple of weeks, I think it may have been a few weeks, and ran a sub 4. Brilliant.
Do you know what the time was?
Training. I think he ran about, I'm not sure exactly, but it would have been about 3:58 or something like that. I think so. But what was impressive about that, John was training for 10k then, and he just turned his hand and just went and ran the sub 4 about a month later. You know,
that's
Johnny's
insane,
brilliant,
man.
he's a cracking athlete.
You know what? So I do a bit of work for a company. I'm like associate work for this company, and they do like team building stuff. And it's always good as a speaker to listen into other people's presentations and things. And I sat in my friend's presentation, and he'd done a little bit on Roger Bannister. And how he spoke about Roger Bannister, it's so inspiring about how your mindset works. And it's, up until, when was it, 60? Yeah. In the 60s, was it, he broke it?
Well, he ran, it was still an amateur sport then. You weren't even allowed, if you were training then, mate, you were classed as a cheat. You're cheating to do this type of thing. Because Roger Bannister had a coach.
What, and he thought he was classed as cheating?
Well, it's like, it's not like ethical. I don't even know what the words are. I'm not that bright, you know what I mean? But it wasn't. He had a coach name.
Like frowned upon, I guess.
Frowned upon, yeah. Roger Bannister actually had a coach name, Frank Stanfield, his name was. So he was getting advice off him, and he was friends with Chris Brazier, who they invented the London Marathon, and it was them together, and a few others, and that's they planned it, so he was the first one to do it, but it got broke again about a week later.
Yeah,
that's coming back to where we talk about limits. Yeah, once he's on it,
that's what this presentation was all about. It goes like up and what year did he break it?
I'm not sure the actual year. Was it 19?
Sure, it was in the 60s, was it? Was it earlier?
Was it late 50s? I don't know. I should know this, shouldn't I?
1952.
Oh, well done.
50s, yeah.
So he does this great presentation, me mate, and he's like, for all these years, it's impossible. That's just the word on the street. It's impossible to run a 4-minute mile. Then he breaks it, and you think, right, fucking hell. So in the history of humankind, right, no one has ran less than a 4-minute mile. One person does it. You think, fucking hell, God, it's going to be another good length of time.
Yeah.
What, last 3 months, was it, I think?
Do you know what? I'm not sure if it was a fella named John Landy, right? But it was. I think it may have been a week or two after.
It wasn't long. Wasn't long. And then after that, it's been broken something like hundreds or thousands of times since.
It just happened.
And I just love that idea of, it's like, It's just looking at like a
It's opens the
fucking
floodgates,
yeah. It's like looking at a 10-foot wall. Do you reckon you can jump that? Nah, fucking no chance.
No, that's everyone.
And then
thinks you
and then
can't.
someone does it, and you're like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I'll have a go. And then
It's just. I mean, let's come to stay on the subject of record. Look, Kipchoge's sub 2 hour,
oh yeah,
which was incredible. I mean,
Amazing watching
I've read lots of books on what really, really good, intelligent people who speak about running and predicted thing. And there was people that sub 2 will never go. You know what I mean? They'll never ever go. Yeah, so.
It says here that the 4-minute mile has been broken by over 1,400 male athletes.
do you know what I mean? In what 50
From
years?
1952,
70 years.
68 years,
And then it's whatever Wikipedia here says, and then it says in 65 years since, the mile record has been lowered by almost 17 seconds and currently stands at 3 minutes and 43 seconds by a Moroccan chap at the age 2024.
Is it Isham El Garouche?
Yeah.
Yeah,
age 24 in 1999.
that was some race that was.
And running 4-minute mile translates to a speed of 15 miles per hour.
But then I'll go on one. It was there's a fella named Daniel Coleman. He had like 2 years, absolutely brilliant. He was the first person to run sub 8 minutes for 2 miles.
Really, yeah.
And that was like whoa. And there's only been a couple of people who've done it, and unbelievable.
That in some respects a lot harder than it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he ran just under 8 minutes. So he ran 2 back-to-back sub 4-minute miles in one race. You know.
Jesus.
Sorry, Roger.
That's insane. I'm trying to find how quickly it was beaten, but I remember finding it somewhere. I think.
Oh, mate,
and
it was weeks.
It was a few weeks.
Yeah, it was
afterwards,
literally just as soon as.
But we don't care about that. Roger's done it first. And
I just love, mate. I find it fascinating, the mindset of like it's once you can believe it.
Yeah.
It's then why not?
The first person who comes out and says I want to do this, they're classed as mad, aren't they? Because and then it happens, and then oh god, he invented that.
Yeah.
It's like your 37, however many seconds it was, is now the bench. That's your benchmark now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, if you'd have said before that time, I don't think I can do that time. You've set it now. And
Yeah, it's like that. The person who says they can and the person who says they can't are both normally right. You've got to believe in it, haven't you? I
mean, Andy, tell the truth. How many people? If you said to 20 of your mates are going to do it, right? Most of them probably thought you were mad.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones who are like, mate, you'll do that, but
deep down, they'd be I think
big.
Was there nothing else after once you've completed it? I know we're kind of brushing over like, all right, yeah, you're on 37.
Boring.
What's next? But like, did you think what is next at all, or
a little bit? Yeah, I mean, I had a little break from it in the sense of I just wanted to we had the the big thing it done for me was I always wanted to write a book about my life, because I think from losing my mum to Iraq, Afghan, getting blown up, having my leg amputated, all of that, I felt like I could write a decent book, but I didn't want to write a book just about being blown up in Afghanistan, because I know fucking 100 fellas who've been blown up in Afghanistan. When I finished that record, I thought, right, that's it now. I've done something that's worth talking about, rather than just being blown up. So in some ways, I felt like I just ticked off running. I'd like completed it almost, because it was like, right now, I've got something I've redefined myself now, and I still love running now. But I think I lost that little bit of wanting to prove. I've kind of, I felt like I completed it. I'd done my running goal, and I've like can put to bed that now. And I might get the bug again to want to compete. I've always got the bug. I love running, but I think it was definitely because there was so much kind of geared towards doing that. It was like I can't really get better than that now.
Yeah.
So many opportunities came after that, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean,
there's so much happening. I mean, it was coming back to the documentary and the Odeon. It was just like, God, where's this fella going to go from this?
Yeah, and you know what, mate? I felt a little bit, even sometimes recently, I sometimes feel a little bit, and this isn't like I'm playing the victim, feel sorry for myself, but I sometimes do think in my life, my highs are too high and my lows are too low. Because if someone says like, I'm like, well, I can't be bothered doing the run. Well, last time I done a run, I broke a world record. I had a documentary made about me on ITV. On the back of that, I got a book that was nominated for Sports Book of the Year next to Tiger Woods, and I sold out the fucking Odeon with all my friends and family. Yeah. That's not me bigging myself up, but it's like the come down off that. It's like, well, fucking hell, what you?
Yeah.
Well, you look at it obviously from a selfish point of view. I'm thinking, God, he can go and take the 5k and the half marathon here from my side. But then when I look at his side and the amount of pressure he was under to go and do it, and the new opportunity, what was around you, obviously.
That's why, mate, I think I've got so much respect for elite athletes who can stay focused when you're winning. Because if you like, that was me winning in life. If you like, I've done it, and I lost the drive. I did for running because there was other things that took priority. Then
come into your life. It's like anything, can it?
And I think to look now from a sport point of view, you look at the likes of Ronaldo, Messi. You look at Cara, we see every day in the gym. To stay at that level for so long, to win trophies and then to get up the next day and go, right, forget about that, we go again.
Yeah,
that is a crazy mindset. And it's something that I haven't got. I proved it there. I'd done it. Was like, right, that's it, I'm done. To get up the next day and go, right, next,
we need to be better.
That is some. You look at the Liverpool team at the minute, what Jurgen Klopp's done, that, because I think that's what makes sportsmen great, isn't it? It's the consistency. Because everyone can have a great game or a great run or it's that every single week.
You've never cracked it. You've never ever cracked it. Coming back to just being a voluntary coach at a running club, it's not like, oh God, Andy Grant's broke the world record, I'm done, no, that'll do me. Which is amazing and brilliant, but it's always what's next. What's next? Come on, keep going,
The same with this podcast. Like we can't every week, every Monday, an episode gets released, and I'm as guilty as anyone going. So like after you leave this room, it's like, right, what's next? Who's next?
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if we
people on.
If we look back at some of the, if you'd have said to me, in 2 years' time, you'll have a studio, and you'll have everyone from hostage negotiator, Jamie Carragher, Dom Jolly, Eunice, the stunt woman, huge range of different people. Like, surely you must be happy now.
Of course, yeah. But you never are. You want more, don't you? Because it's the buzz, isn't it? Who's going to be on? I mean, where's this going? And next month, never mind next year.
And I think it's the journey, isn't it, though, more than anything? It's not just because, again, the world record, to say you broke, it's great. Fastest one-legged man in the world, sounds great. But when I look back, it's the journey. It's everything what we spoke about for the last hour or whatever. It's that journey of meeting Tony on Everton Brown and then doing this and doing that. That's the bit you look back on and you enjoy.
Party was good afterwards, weren't it? Norris.
Yeah, tell the story about the Monica Lewinsky book.
So a friend of mine, Harry Byers, is no longer with us. God rest him, Harry's top man. He had the pub on the corner, the Wellington, from the track. So I'd spoke to him a couple of days before, said, look, Andy's going for the world record. You coming over to watch it, Harry? He went, yeah, I'll come over. He said, why don't you come over? I'll put a spread on. So he's done sandwiches and things like that. And we went over, we had bevies, and we had a bevy. He went, I've got a gift for Andy there. I went, oh, lovely. I thought he was going to have a card or something, congratulations. He come down with a hard copy of this, back of this book, and Andy's looking a bit confused. What's to do, mate? What's the book? Is it a Liverpool book or something? He went, no, it's a fucking Monica Lewinsky one, signed to Harry. He's given it to Andy.
A signed Monica Lewinsky autobiography. I was like... Nice one, mate, cheers.
That's for you, that, Andy. That's typical Harry's proper.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
It's brilliant, weren't it?
My dad's like, what's that book you've got? I said, I'll tell you later.
Just broke a world record.
Oh,
we had a few babies, didn't we? And it was brilliant.
Boss, mate. And like you say, the friendship's continued, mate.
Yeah.
You never know, I might get on you again and say, we'll go for that 5k or something at some point.
That's definitely, that's there, mate. But there's so much you could talk about on that journey, mate. We haven't even...
It's so good that there was a documentary made, wasn't there? It's so good. You've got that you can always look back on, and it was that journey was recorded. And
not just imagine it was nothing. Not everyone was being who they were. Obviously I'm mic'd up, he's there. There's all the runners around and stuff like that. We never done any takes. It was just there you go.
Yeah,
that was it.
And the thing I'm most proud of as well. It's not kind of the breaking the record. It sounds quite cheesy, but I'm so proud of how many people have been inspired on the back of that story, whether they've watched the documentary, whether they listened to me and you talk about it, or whether they've read the book. I think because you're part of it, you forget that. And because I don't view myself as disabled or one leg, I just enjoy running. You enjoy coaching. We come together, we've done something special. It's great. But you forget how many people can then take something from that and think, fucking hell, I want to get out running. And whether it's breaking a world record or whether it's running around the block a couple of times, doesn't make any difference.
Still a purpose, isn't it?
Still and that's the thing, mate. That is the thing about a purpose, and that's why I was so excited to get you on. A bit of a new dawn for us in this new office, a new purpose for the podcast. But it's just been such a fucked up year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been guilty of it. I've moaned to both of you separately on the phone about just how fed up I've been. But I think that's what gets everyone back on track, having a purpose. Whatever that is, whether it's being a good dad, a good mum, whether you've got your own podcast, whether you're a voluntary running coach, whether you whatever it may be, you need to have a purpose, don't you?
And then the second you haven't, that's the second you start overthinking, getting anxious, getting wound up, getting fed up, probably moaning to your mate a bit too much about stuff that doesn't matter, whatever that subject
about
is.
Nonsense,
Nonsense, know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think there's other people with proper problems. So the second, my message is always have a purpose.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to the gym on, for us, for me, it's like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, I'm in the Rotunda. Nothing else is changing, now I'm in there. And you go in there and you just get the height of abuse right the way through, but it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you go and give it to someone else the next day, you know?
Yeah. It's so funny that worrying about, because a few weeks ago I had a daughter, and I said to you on the phone that when she was born, I was going to stay up all night and watch the US election just because, like, something to do, and you know. And then as soon as she was born, like, all that nonsense of even just watching the election or even being bothered by something like that just fell completely apart. And had no interest in it whatsoever.
Totally
just
get that.
you know,
as soon as your first child's born, it's like nothing else. You think, why was it? It changed me overnight when my son was born.
You said it to me, didn't you? Like, I can understand why you just don't give a fuck about a lot of things. I was like,
even like you know, I'm so guilty of, if someone texts me, I've got to try and reply quite quickly. When she was born, I couldn't give a fuck if I replied 18 hours later. It is what it is.
It is what it is. And that's it.
if that much is emergency, don't call me, call an ambulance. Or call, you know.
That's the great thing about having kids, isn't it? It's brilliant. It's
perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. And they're always kids. Doesn't matter how old they are. You're there to advise and stuff. And, but it's now it's more than ever. Get out there, go and enjoy the parks. Have a purpose.
How have you found? Because you've now got the run one. What have you called it on Instagram?
Need for Speed 100.
Need for Speed 100. So you're now doing, as well as the Harrier stuff, you're doing one-on-one stuff. So
during the lockdown, quickly, it's made us think about different things. What am I going to do? Because it's changed everyone's mindset, isn't it, towards their own futures and what they should. And I've been thinking now, 45 now, I've been thinking, what do I want to do? Do I want to do something? Do my charity stuff on Andy's got the thanks Andy. Andy's got the hoodie on the face. Want to do that, which is great.
Was it Friends Against Cancer?
Friends Against Cancer events. I do that, which I love. That, like, everything I want to be a brilliant team of lads who are all involved in it. And but I thought to me, career-wise, what do I want to do? And I've always coached it. And obviously I've spoke about Owen Brown, Richard Green and Frank. Their agents, Phil Foden at Man City, and a host of other players. And I've always helped them out for about 8-9 years with their players they've had over the years, and just as a favour, go ahead, I'll take them, let me pre-season, things like that. So that was fine. And then obviously on this first lockdown when it happened,
because all the running clubs are closed, aren't they?
Running clubs are closed. Obviously when we were allowed to, we've got a WhatsApp group, so people were out having to train on their own until we were allowed to train together. And I had an opportunity to work with Phil Foden for a couple of months. And that was really good.
That's cool, isn't it?
What are you doing, lad, when he's our fucking biggest rival? What are you fucking playing at?
God,
if he ends up scoring, imagine the abuse you're going to get in the gym if he ends up scoring a fucking winner or something.
Then I've got the agents phoning me, and then Phil texts me, just winding me up as well. So, but he's a great lad, he's brilliant, and he's... you look at, like, what drives top sportsmen but when you speak, you tell them, you want to see the way he takes instruction on board, right? Try that right away, just does it. You know what I mean? Really, really good.
So you're working with him during his pre-season? Yeah,
and then obviously the lockdown and stuff like that. But for Phil, it was more on his... he's already quick, make no mistake. It was on his biomechanics and getting him off the mark quicker, and how he uses his arms, things like that. Most of other things.
That's cool, that, to say you're working with him.
Yeah, so but what's really good about it, he's come out the blocks, and after the lockdown, come right, and I think it was his first or second game, got man of the match. He's all over the pitch, everywhere, fitter, a little bit sharper, but you're just adding that little 1%, and I feel proud to have done that, and he continues to do it. So he does obviously the running drills, stuff like that, and his arm, obviously working on his arm speed. So he does that alone himself.
You're doing it with the kids as well, aren't you? I've seen kids on your Instagram.
Yeah. But obviously since Phil, and he posted on the social media. He's got about 1 million followers. Started my Instagram page off. It had about 10 followers. It was all nice and underground. And then
underground.
And Cara, who's absolutely. Let me tell you something about Cara. He's, for local people, how he helps out local businesses, and You know, Jockey's soft table t-shirt, you know what I mean?
That was a belter one.
It's just unbelievable. Obviously, he's been brilliant with me. I've putting it. I mean, between Carragher and Phil, I think they've got about 2.5 million followers. So in a day or something, I think I had about 800 followers and
yeah.
So obviously, I work with some young Man City academy players, Man United.
I'm going to speak to them this afternoon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a talk for Man City under 16s now. Yeah.
Yeah. Some young Liverpool players. Yeah, and just normal Saturday and Sunday kids who play football who want to improve because everything's speed now. They all want to get better, and so they come the one-to-one training sessions, and when they come, I just see what they need again. So from an easy warm-up, Andy, but I can see how they run. You know, obviously how their feet are landing, how they're using their arms and stuff. Come in, carry on with a little bit more of a warm-up, and then I'll just ask them to do 5 or 6 strides. From them 5 or 6 strides, then I'll know what to fix. Whether it's heel striking or
Ian Barrigan said that how when he with Trent and a scout at the Liverpool Academy said now footballers they have to be Olympians. It's so important, the running and the speed.
So what you've already said, it's funny how they both mentioned it, isn't it? The
biomechanics. Yeah.
I mean, I've known obviously for a long time it's coming in football because everything speeds up, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
I thought it'll come. I've always worked with players pre-season just as a favour, but I thought biomechanics is going to come fast in our sport because everything now in our sport, well, my sport's running in football, but it's just every academy kid's on there reports, look, he needs to improve his speed off the mat, his first 10 yards, and it's all about getting into putting good body position. Do you know what I mean? Now if you're thinking that you're going to run fast off the mark and you're running with a big long stride, you've got no chance. You're going to get the feet down quick. It's got to be short strides, not like the way you do a high knee drill through a ladder, that type of thing, but in a sprint. Makes sense? Short, compact strides. But you need to have the arm drive as well.
When you say arm drive, what, as in just that those arms are pumping the legs as such?
So like say for instance you see a sprinter as he's come out the blocks. Yeah. Obviously football players can't go in blocks, but you've got to be quite low. Yeah. Where the arms are coming up and down, basically exaggerated right up past the ears, up and down past the hips. Right. So it's a pump that encourages the spinniest stride. Does that make sense?
Right.
The stride freak. So if that's your stride, yeah. Once you move the arms quicker, that'll move quicker.
Right.
Yeah. Neuromuscular.
I remember the little things when I was doing it. It was like, I think you at one point you just raise your knee just a little bit more when you're running.
Your knee lift was low,
and you think you just raise your leg just that tiny bit, and the stride opens up a little bit more. You go a little bit, and you're like, from one tiny thing just to think about.
You had the brake on a little bit, the handbrake on it, just off a little bit, just flow and just roll with it.
It's mad though, isn't it, to think the impact it makes, those little 1%.
Just little things, and with Andy as well. Obviously, we had to be careful with getting friction and stuff like that. So we were well aware of that, and I thought, you'll be all right, mate. Yeah. And he took it off and went, oh God.
It was bad, wasn't it? Yeah.
But the power when you see 100 metres and just the power going through it. You know when you watch a David Attenborough thing and you see a cheetah go, and it's in slow mo and how it's timed and
the way you see that, the time and the way the foot. If you look at it as a sprinter from a side angle, you can see when they're taking off, the body is nice and low and leaning forward, and as the foot's landing, the foot is landing underneath them and they're pulling the ground away. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, pulling from the front part of the foot, and then as the distance increases, the body gradually rises and comes up. So, but it's coming with football now, and football's all short sprints. We know that. You know what I mean? But it's about how you position. You know, how you accelerate, how you use your arms. It's not just about moving your feet. You know. Yeah. And when and it's heel striking's fine, it's okay. But if you want to run fast, you need to get on the front part of your foot. You know what I mean? So you're springing. So if you were jumping up and down, if you were, we can't do it now. If you were jumping up and down, and I said jump higher, you'd press more from the front part of your foot, wouldn't you, to go higher? Yeah. That should be in a stride. You know the impact called ground reaction force. It's called. So when people are running, they might be landing too lightly. You need to spring before your foot hits. It's already left. That type of thing. We're going into one a little bit here, but there's lots of small details. But when you add all these small details into, say for instance, a footballer player to try and get off the mark quick, and you put them together, it can be massive.
Make a difference.
You can talk about bring your game on.
Well, you look at the difference that Calvert-Lewin's made.
Yeah.
In his jumping and stuff, the goal he scored against Liverpool.
Yeah.
You think there's one way to jump. There's obviously the breaking down and running. Those tiny little things that you have to do.
They're not. We thought jumping back in the day was getting right down on the ground and getting your backside on the floor and then jumping right up. They're actually quite tall. It's a little drop of the knee and a flick with the, you know what I mean? It's a little bounce off the. Been working with Duncan there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
funny though, isn't it? You know, if you think about football, you know, like, and you say about football and jumping, you know, you imagine 20 years ago, however long you said, well, let's work on your jumping. You think, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? I'm here to kick a football. You know,
coming back to with the heading now, isn't it? There's a big debate on even heading the ball now, isn't it?
Yeah, with the dementia and all that, isn't it?
And stuff like that. But
Apparently, the Calvaloon went to Dubai for a couple of weeks and worked with someone out there, just on jumping.
Brilliant.
Just on his,
he's doing really well,
his legs and all that.
Yeah.
His core and stuff. It's obviously worked.
It's just these little small. David, we go back to David Devine. David needed to work on his arm swing. His arms, obviously, he's quick. David
Devine's a Paralympian.
Yeah, Paralympian, of European champion 18 months ago in Berlin. And he's obviously doing the Olympics this year. He's qualified.
Brilliant.
So David had lots of biomechanical problems. He used to heel strike, and his arms would be coming across his body, which would turn his upper body.
What, rather than keep them narrow?
Yeah, so obviously keeping his forward. It took a while to do, but he's perfect now. So it's better. It's like at his level, races can be won. It's like Mo Farah, races can be won the last lap. And if that's not sorted, then it's okay running at a high speed, high tempo for 24 laps, or if you're doing a 10k and then smashing the last lap, or 5k running 11 laps, and then he can always keep up. But them races are won the last lap.
Yeah.
So you've got to be biomechanically. You've got to learn how to use your arms properly, not crossing your body. Crossing the body, if you're running like this, Matt's shoulders are turning.
Keep going with Tom. Keep getting mixed up with Matt Owen.
Oh, it's Matt Owen. Oh God, Tom. So sorry, everyone.
Don't worry, I was thinking
well.
crossing your shoulders. Yeah.
When we were talking about lane 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So if you're running around the track, you're going in 2 and then 1, 2 and 1. It's not that bad, but they're small details. Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant just sitting and listening.
I hope just people get from it, mate, that, not so much, listen, if you're a great runner, if you're into your running anyway, listen, check out Need for Speed 100 and, go enjoy the running club. If you're in Liverpool, go and join Harriers and all that, do all that.
Yeah. But
also hopefully people will take into account that the mental health side of things. That's what I think was wanted to really get across, that, great things can be achieved when you get out running. Just that little seed and sort of dropping and pedaling, the ripples, effects, and it was all down to me getting a dog, going on walks, getting fresh air. The walks turned into runs, the runs turned into longer runs. A year or two later,
it's unbelievable, and there's no excuse for anyone. I think. I mean, if you live in Sefton, you've got Marsh Lane Harriers, haven't you? If you live in Sefton, you've got Southport, Waterloo, Pembroke, Sefton. If you live Southport, like South Liverpool, Raleigh, you've got the Harriers. They're just
there's loads
Penny
of
Lane
clubs.
Striders, you've got Liverpool Running Club, your Kirby Marlers. It's just unbelievable.
Get out
everywhere.
and run.
Your park run every
people.
Saturday morning, Andy, free.
Yeah, there is no excuse, and it's just so good for you.
Tom, these park runs free. When we get back to a bit of normal, you can just turn up.
Yeah, there's one Crosby Beach, there's one Princess
Beach.
Park.
Yeah.
Has you got any by you?
Yeah, I think there is a few.
Have you ever been into running?
Not really. Not really. I used to do a lot of cross country at school. Cross country. Yeah, loved it. Love cross country.
You're going to join my group next, aren't you?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
I can feel a documentary coming on.
Matt's going to join my group, aren't you, Matt? That's what will be the brilliant thing about this podcast. The guest is calling
the host the wrong name.
That's me all over. We've got a young girl in our group called Neve, lovely kid, brilliant, and I don't know what it was. I was on the phone to someone about an hour, mate of mine, Neil. So I said, Neil, move your arms. Everyone went, Neil. So her name's Neil now.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm like a younger version of Bobby Robson. I think he's got a few legend, didn't he?
Yeah.
Forgets the names. But I've enjoyed this today, lads. And
so I appreciate it. And apologies for everyone. It's been a bit kind of egotistical about my kind of journey, but hopefully it's inspired to know that anyone can get out there, get running, and it's good for you. Brilliant. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you,
pleasure.
Mate.
Thanks, boys. Nice one.